The Philippines gears up for its maiden submarine acquisition amid Southeast Asian Naval race. The Southeast Asia nation has long been engaged in a confrontation with China over the control of vast swaths of the South China Sea. The country has finally committed to acquiring its first-ever submarine. The decision stems from the increasing Chinese aggression in the West Philippine Sea, taking part in the wider South China Sea, which China claims entirely. The French Naval Group, which has emerged as one of the top contenders, has offered its Scorpene submarines to turn the Philippines Navy into a major force. The Southeast Asian country also has an offer from South Korean DSME, Russia's Sevmash, and Turkey to build submarines for its navy. The Philippines is not only looking to acquire a submarine but also to develop its own manufacturing capacity within the country. Along with the building capability, the country is also looking at training proficiencies. This makes it imperative for the Philippines, which has one of the world's largest coastlines, to strengthen its navy. Procuring a submarine can be a deterrent, underscoring the Philippines' ability and determination to protect its territorial sovereignty. As communicated by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. during a media interview at the 125th anniversary celebration of the Philippines Navy in Manila, he said that there is a plan. But it's still being developed.
There is a plan, but it's still being developed dahil ang commitment para mag-operate ng submarine is not a small commitment. It is a very large commitment because the training that is involved, the equipment that is involved, and the operational requirements that are involved are quite significant.
Reports inform that the Philippine Navy has already sent personnel to France for training before procuring the submarines. This suggests that the naval group might be in the pole position with its Scorpene-class diesel-electric submarines on offer. Brazil, Chile, India, and Malaysia have also chosen the submarines. The Philippine Navy has started working towards building its submarine force since 2015 by sending its personnel to train at the DCI's facility in France. A crew of 31 sailors will operate the Scorpene SSK that the naval group is offering the Philippine Navy and will have an endurance of 80 days at sea. This variant is similar to those operated by Brazil. It will also have 6 torpedo tubes and can deploy a total of 18 munitions. It will be armed with SM-39 Exocet anti-ship missiles and F-21 heavyweight torpedoes. Naval Group also highlighted the use of Scorpene in other roles, such as intelligence gathering, special forces operations, and mine-laying. Despite the intent to procure, the submarine plan had been in limbo due to the small defense budget of the country. The estimated budget for procuring 2 submarines has been pegged at 70 to 100 billion Philippine pesos or 1.3 to 1.8 billion United States dollars. The procurement is part of the Philippines Navy's Horizon 3 modernization plan from 2023 to 2028. Once the deal is finalized, it will take at least 5 years for the first of the submarines to enter the fleet. While the naval group is not offering to build the submarines in the island country, it is offering to train its personnel for 4 years. The watchers of the South China Sea have welcomed the development and say that the Philippines will be better off by allying with like-minded countries and building internal capability. Going back and forth on its aspirations to build a submarine fleet, the archipelagic country has finally consented to go ahead with its Navy modernization plans. When asked how long it would take the first submarine to enter the Philippine Navy service, the naval group stated that the first boat would require 5 years to be built and an additional year of qualifications at sea before being transferred to the Philippine Navy. In total, it would take 6 years for the first Scorpene to enter service. In other words, if procured under Horizon 3, from 2023 to 2028 period, the first SSK would arrive between 2029 and 2034. Several Southeast Asian nations such as Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Singapore already have submarines, making the Philippines' acquisition crucial in maintaining a balance of power within the region. It signifies the nation's intent to not just match, but potentially exceed the maritime capabilities of its neighbors. Currently, most of its neighboring countries like Vietnam operate 8 submarines, Singapore and Indonesia have 4 submarines in operation, while Malaysia has 2, and even Myanmar has 1 submarine in operation. The Indonesian Navy boasts a varied fleet that includes the German-made Type 209 and South Korean-made Chong Bogo-class submarines. Malaysia, on the other hand, leverages the technological superiority of the West. Its naval forces possess two Scorpene-class submarines, built in cooperation by France and Spain. These advanced submarines, equipped with stealth features, modern torpedoes, missiles, and mine-laying capabilities, underscore Malaysia's desire for a highly sophisticated and effective underwater fleet. With 6 Kilo-class submarines procured from Russia, the Vietnam People's Navy operates some of the quietest and most effective submarines suitable for the coastal region's shallow waters. Though, China's Navy operates 59 submarines and 92 principal surface combatants. Its Navy and Coast Guard operates nearly 700 patrol and coastal combatant ships, and its maritime militia is estimated to have around 400 ships. Compare that to the Philippines' 2 frigates and 125 patrol and coastal combatant ships. David versus Goliath, as the Philippines prepares to stand up to China. In 2016, an international tribunal squashed any justification China might have had for harassing ships passing by Mischief Reef, its controversial artificial islands, blocking Filipino fishermen from areas like Scarborough Shoal, or interfering with other nations' attempts to explore for oil off their coasts. Despite the ruling, China wrestled control of Scarborough Shoal, a coral reef around 140 miles from the Philippine coastline, and has maintained a constant Chinese Coast Guard presence there. For a long time, the Philippines hoped that its muted response would help in a peaceful resolution of the disputes. But with time, China's aggression in the region has only increased, and it has started employing gray zone operations, making it difficult to counter Beijing's strong-arm tactics. The island country is also leveraging its position to form a strategic alliance with foreign powers in the Indo-Pacific. The Philippines modernized its 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty with the U.S. to include their shared resolve to defend against armed attacks on their aircraft, public vessels, and armed forces to include their respective coast guards, in the Pacific, including anywhere in the South China Sea. The U.S. and the Philippines updated the 2014 Enhanced Defense Security Cooperation Agreement earlier this year, giving U.S. patrols access to 4 additional Philippine bases. In a show of strength, both countries conducted their biggest maritime drill in a clear message to China that the Philippines chooses to actively deter China's attempt to chip away at its sovereignty island by island. The deepening territorial disputes in the South China Sea involve conflicting island and maritime claims by several sovereign states in the region. And the increasing tension between mainland China and Taiwan, with Beijing stepping up its efforts to assert its sovereignty over the island, as part of One China policy. The increasing military activity in the Taiwan Strait, and fears of more tension and competition in the South China Sea, as Beijing continues its relentless building and military operations. These equate disparity, in peace, and national stability, of the whole of Southeast Asia. The Philippines now hopes to get American support to fend off Beijing's continued military buildup in the South China Sea. Manila and Beijing have been locked in a long-running disagreement over the disputed waters that both sides claim as their own. China's actions in the South China Sea have been described as part of its salami slicing or cabbage wrapping strategies. And since 2015, the United States and other states such as France and the United Kingdom have conducted freedom of navigation operations in the region. In July 2016, an arbitration tribunal constituted under Annex 7 of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea or UNCLOS ruled against the PRC's maritime claims in the Philippines versus China. Although, the tribunal did not rule on the ownership of the islands or delimit maritime boundaries, but favored the economic rights of the Philippines as part of its exclusive economic zones. While in January 2022, the United States Department of State called China's claims in the South China Sea unlawful. To respond to the threat of China's aggression in the South China Sea, the Philippines is currently undertaking an ambitious 15-year military modernization program, which will continue through 2027. This program is projected to cost over $40 billion and aims to address long-standing shortfalls in the Philippines' defense capabilities. Southeast Asian nations increasingly view submarine development as a necessity for their security amid changing geopolitical realities, but while some analysts say the move is logical and necessary, Others have questioned the usefulness of the vessels due to exorbitant costs and the disadvantages of maneuvering through regional waters. Within the region, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, and Myanmar currently have submarines, while Thailand and the Philippines are in the process of acquiring them.